I found my boyfriend in bed with another woman. And instead of breaking down, I said, "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there holding a small dessert box, watching Jason sit up like I was the inconvenience. "Lena, this isn't what it looks like," he said, running a hand through his hair. I looked at the woman beside him. She didn't even try to cover herself. She just stared at me like I was late. I stepped inside and placed the box on the table. "You're right," I said. "It's worse." Jason let out a frustrated breath. "Don't do this right now." I almost smiled. "Do what?" "This dramatic thing," he snapped. I studied him for a second, really looked at him. This was the man I stayed with. The man I defended. The man I believed in when no one else did. And somehow, I felt nothing. "Get out," he said. That was it. Not the cheating. Not the betrayal. That. Something inside me shut off. "No," I said quietly. "You don't get to tell me what to do anymore." He frowned. "What is that supposed to mean?" I met his eyes. "It means you just lost the only person who stayed when you had nothing." He didn't respond. Didn't argue. He just stared at me like he didn't recognize me. Good. I turned and walked out. No tears. No hesitation. No looking back. Outside, the night air felt sharp. I kept walking, not fast, not slow, just steady. Streetlights passed one by one. My chest felt tight, but I didn't let it stop me. Because stopping meant feeling everything at once. And I wasn't giving him that. The next morning, I still went to work. Life doesn't pause just because something breaks. "Table 7, my manager called. I grabbed a coffee and walked over. "Here you go," I said, placing it down. "You didn't smile." I paused, then looked up. Ethan. He sat there like he belonged everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Calm, sharp, observant. "I did," I said. He shook his head. "Not really." "It's early," I replied. "Coffee first. Personality later." A faint reaction. Almost a smile. "Fair," he said. I turned to leave. "You don't belong here." I stopped. Slowly turned back. "Excuse me." He held my gaze. "This place. This job. It doesn't fit you." Something about that irritated me. "And what exactly fits me?" I asked. He didn't answer immediately. Just watched me like he already knew. "Something more," he said. I let out a quiet breath. "You don't even know me." "I know enough." I shook my head. "No, you don't." I walked away before he could say anything else. But the conversation stayed. That night was slower. Fewer people. Less noise. I wiped down a table and felt it again. That look. I didn't turn. "You always watch people like that?" I asked. "Only the ones who interest me," Ethan said. I faced him. "And I'm interesting?" He nodded. "You're pretending to be okay." I crossed my arms. "And you're pretending to be mysterious." That earned a real reaction. "Sit," he said. "You always this direct?" "Yes." I sighed and sat across from him. "Bad night?" he asked. "That obvious?" "Yes." I leaned back slightly. "Let's say it wasn't my best." He didn't push. Didn't rush. Just waited. "You ever stay too long somewhere you shouldn't?" I asked. He considered it. "No." I almost laughed. "Must be nice." "I leave when something stops making sense," he said. I looked at him. And I stayed hoping it would make sense again. A pause. It didn't. He nodded once. Then leaving was the right move. "I didn't leave," I said. "I was pushed." He leaned forward slightly. People who get pushed usually end up stronger than the ones who stay. I held his gaze. "You don't know what happened." "I don't need to." That confidence should have annoyed me. It didn't. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lena." "Ethan." I nodded. "Okay, Ethan." Conversation over. "Not yet," he said. I stood up. "For me it is." He didn't stop me. Just watched. And for some reason, it didn't feel uncomfortable. It felt like something had started. The next day I told myself I wouldn't think about him. I still noticed when he walked in. Same table. Same calm presence. Like he had decided this place was part of his routine. I grabbed a coffee and walked over. "You're becoming predictable," I said, placing it down. I like consistency, he replied. Most people like variety. Most people don't know what they're looking for. I crossed my arms slightly. And you do. He looked at me for a moment. I know what stands out. I didn't respond. I just nodded and walked away. But I felt it again. That quiet attention. That night he stayed longer. The diner was almost empty. I finished my shift, wiped the last table and walked past him. You always stay this late? I asked. Only when I'm waiting for something, he said. I raised an eyebrow. And what's that? He met my eyes. A real conversation. I hesitated, then sat across from him. 5 minutes, I said. That's enough. A pause. Then he asked, why did you stay with him? Straight to the point. I didn't ask how he knew. I didn't ask why he cared. Because I believed in who he used to be, I said. I kept waiting for him to become that person again. And he didn't. No. A small pause. And when you realized that, he asked. I stopped pretending, I said. And everything ended. He nodded slowly. Most people don't do that. Most people are afraid to lose what they already invested in, I replied. And you weren't. I was, I said. I just chose not to stay afraid. That sat between us for a second. Not awkward. Just clear. Why do you care? I asked. About any of this? He leaned back slightly like he had expected the question. Because I've seen you before. I frowned. No, you haven't. Yes, he said. Hospital. That caught me off guard. I stared at him. When? Late night. Waiting area. You were alone. The memory came back instantly. Cold chairs. Bright lights. Too much silence. You remember that? I asked. Yes. Why? He didn't hesitate. Because you didn't look weak. I looked down for a second, then back at him. I was. He shook his head. Maybe. But you didn't show it. That doesn't mean I was strong. It means you are. That answer landed differently than anything else he said. Because it didn't feel like a guess. It felt like he had already decided. Days passed. He kept coming back. Not constantly. Not in a way that felt forced. Just enough to become familiar. You always order the same thing, I said one evening. You always bring it before I ask, he replied. I paused. That's my job. Not really, he said. It's attention. I shook my head slightly. You read too much into things. And you ignore too much. That almost made me smile. Almost. Something shifted during those days. Nothing dramatic. No sudden change. Just ease. Talking to him didn't feel like effort. It didn't feel like I had to explain myself or hold anything back. Just happened. Until one night everything came back. The door opened. I didn't look at first. Then I heard the voice. Lena. I froze. Turned slowly. Jason. Standing there like nothing had happened. Like the last time we saw each other didn't exist. You're still working here? He asked, glancing around. I walked toward him, calm, steady. What do you want? He shrugged. To talk. I looked at him for a second. About what? Us, he said. I almost laughed. There is no us. He stepped closer. You're overreacting. It wasn't that serious. That was the moment I realized how little he understood. Not that serious? I repeated. Yeah, he said. It just happened. I held his gaze. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. He frowned. Why are you acting like this? Like what? Cold. I nodded slightly. Because I'm done explaining things to someone who never listened. His expression hardened. Don't talk to me like that. Then don't give me a reason to, I said. A pause. You're really walking away? He asked. I already did. He glanced past me, noticing Ethan for the first time. And this, he said. This is what you replaced me with? I didn't respond. Ethan stood up and walked over, calm but direct. Is there a problem? He asked. Jason scoffed. This doesn't concern you. It does now, Ethan said. There was no aggression in his voice. Just certainty. Jason looked between us, then smirked. You really think this is an upgrade? Ethan didn't hesitate. She didn't downgrade. She chose better. That shut him up for a second. Stay out of it, Jason muttered. Leave, Ethan said. Simple. Clear. Jason looked at me one last time. You'll regret this. I met his eyes. I already regret staying as long as I did. That was it. He didn't argue. Didn't push. He just turned and walked out. The diner went quiet again. I exhaled slowly. You didn't have to do that, I said. I know, Ethan replied. Then why did you? He looked at me. Because I wanted to. That answer felt different. Not control. Not interference. Choice. I nodded. Thank you. He gave a small nod. You didn't hesitate, he added. I already made my decision, I said. I don't go back on it. He studied me for a second. Good. That night felt lighter. Not because everything was fixed, but because something ended properly. For the first time, Jason didn't feel like a loose thread. He felt like a closed chapter. And without realizing it, I had already stepped into something new. Things didn't change overnight. They settled. Ethan didn't push. He didn't ask for more. He just showed up, sat down, and talked like it mattered. That consistency did more than anything dramatic ever could. You don't try to impress people, I said one evening after my shift, sitting across from him. Neither do you, he replied. I used to. What changed? I got tired of being enough for everyone else and never enough for myself. He nodded like that made sense. It usually takes people longer to figure that out, he said. I didn't figure it out, I replied. I just got tired of ignoring it. A small pause. That's how it starts, he said. Days turned into weeks. Nothing rushed. Nothing forced. But something kept building. I started noticing the details. The way he listened instead of waiting to speak. The way he never filled silence just to avoid it. The way he didn't try to be impressive yet somehow always was. You're late, I said one night when he walked in. He checked his watch. 3 minutes. That's late. You were waiting? I turned slightly. I had nothing better to do. Liar. I shook my head, but there was a smile this time. That night the diner closed early. No customers. Just quiet. Sit, he said. You're getting comfortable giving instructions. I'm making a request. I sat across from him anyway. You never ask me anything, he said. I ask enough. You answer more than you ask, he replied. There's a difference. I thought about it. He was right. Fine, I said. Why me? He didn't hesitate. Because you didn't try to get my attention. That's your reason? No, he said. That's how it started. A pause. You were real when you had no reason to be, he continued. I leaned back slightly. And now? Now I'm waiting to see if you still are. That was a challenge. I met his eyes. Then you go first. A faint smile. I don't do this, he said. This. Staying. Showing up. Letting something build. Then why are you? He held my gaze. Because you're not something I want to walk away from. That line landed quietly, but it stayed. I stood up and walked around the table, stopping in front of him. You're dangerous, I said. Why? You make things feel stable. And that's a problem? I'm not used to it. He stood too. Close enough now that I could see the shift in his expression. You will be, he said. Or I'll ruin it. You won't. How do you know? Because you don't destroy things that matter. That was the moment something softened. Not loudly. Not suddenly. Just enough. I didn't think about it. I didn't plan it. I leaned in and kissed him. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't perfect. It was real. For a second he didn't move. Then he pulled me closer, steady, certain. When we pulled back, the air felt different. You just complicated things, I said. No, he replied. I made them clear. That confidence should have unsettled me. It didn't. The next few days felt easier. Not overwhelming. Not intense. Just closer. You're smiling more, he said. Don't get used to it. I already am. Then the past tried again. Started with a message. Unknown number. You moved on fast. I stared at the screen. Another message followed. Let's see how long this one lasts. I didn't need to ask who it was. Jason. I didn't reply. I just locked the phone and set it down. Ethan noticed. "What is it?" he asked. I showed him. He read it, expression unchanged. "Block it." I shook my head. "No." "Why?" "Because I'm not avoiding him," I said. "I'm ending it." That mattered. Because this time I wasn't reacting. I was deciding. "You're sure?" he asked. "Yes." A pause. "I'm not the same person he left," I added. Ethan studied me for a second. "I know." I thought that was the last of it. It wasn't. Because Jason wasn't the real problem anymore. He was just noise. The real problem hadn't even walked in yet. The first time I saw her, I knew she wasn't random. Victoria didn't walk into the diner like a customer. She walked in like she already owned the outcome. Auburn hair, precise movements, a presence that didn't ask for attention but took it anyway. She didn't look around. She walked straight to Ethan. "I was wondering how long it would take," she said. Ethan didn't smile. "You shouldn't be here." She tilted her head slightly. "And missed this." Her eyes shifted to me. That look wasn't curiosity. It was assessment. I walked over. "Can I get you something?" A small smile. "I already have what I came for." "Victoria," Ethan said, firm. So that was her name. "Relax," she replied. "I'm not here to make a scene." A brief pause. "Not tonight." I held her gaze. "Then say what you came to say." She studied me for a second. "You replaced her faster than I expected." "I didn't replace anyone," I said. "I stopped staying where I wasn't valued." That landed. Her smile thinned. Ethan stepped slightly between us. "This isn't the place." She ignored him. "You think this is your world now?" "No," I said. "I know I belong wherever I choose to stand." A flicker crossed her expression. Not anger. Adjustment. "Interesting," she said. "Confidence without history." "Experience doesn't always come from status," I replied. "Sometimes it comes from losing and not staying there." That shifted the air. People nearby started paying attention. She noticed. Of course she did. "This isn't over," she said quietly. "I'm not waiting for it to be," I replied. She turned and walked out. Controlled. Unhurried. Like she still believed she was ahead. "Who is she?" I asked. "Someone who doesn't like losing," Ethan said. "Then she picked the wrong fight," I replied. He looked at me carefully. "She won't stop." "Neither will I." It didn't take long. The next day the looks changed. Not curious anymore. Judgmental. One of the servers handed me her phone. "You should see this." An article. Photos. Headlines built to sound just believable enough. Billionaire's new obsession. Waitress or strategy? I read it once and handed the phone back. "People get bored," I said. But I understood what it was. Not random. Structured. Ethan walked in later than usual. "It started," he said. "Yes." "I'll shut it down." "No." He frowned. "Lena, if you fix it, it proves her point," I said. "That I can't stand on my own." "You don't have to prove anything." "I'm not proving it to her," I replied. "I'm proving it to myself." That stopped him. He nodded once. "Then I stay out of it. Unless you ask." Fair. That evening I stepped outside after my shift. She was already there. Leaning against a car, composed like she had expected me. "You're predictable," she said. "You're persistent," I replied. "I don't lose things I consider mine." "I'm not something you lost," I said. "I'm someone you never had." Her eyes sharpened. "You think this is about him?" she asked. "What else would it be?" She gave a small laugh. "Position. Perception. Control." That explained everything. "You're in the wrong fight," I said. "No," she replied. "You are." She walked past me like I was already behind her. That night, Ethan watched me closely. "You're thinking," he said. "I'm learning. About her. About people like her. And she doesn't want you," I said. "She wants to break me." He didn't disagree. "Will she?" he asked. I shook my head. "No." "Why?" "Because I've already been broken once," I said. "And I didn't stay that way." That wasn't confidence. It was memory. She didn't attack directly after that. She didn't need to. People like her understand timing. Reputation first. Then pressure. Then cracks. And I could already feel the next move coming. The next move didn't come to my face. It spread around me. By the third day, the whispers weren't subtle. Customers looked at me like they already knew something I hadn't said. One woman leaned toward her friend and said just loud enough, "That's her." I placed the coffee down and asked, "Anything else?" She didn't meet my eyes. Another post surfaced that evening. Longer. Sharper. Built to sound credible. Sources say she targeted him. Played the innocent role. I read it once and handed the phone back. People need better hobbies, I said. Inside, I understood the pattern. It wasn't random. It was layered. Ethan walked in later. He read the room before he reached me. "It escalated," he said. "Yes. I'm shutting it down." "No." His jaw tightened. "This isn't small." "I know," I said. "That's why I'm not letting her control the story. You don't have to carry this alone." "I'm not," I replied. "I'm choosing how I respond." He held my gaze, then nodded. "I stay out of it unless you ask." Deal. That trust mattered more than any quick fix. After closing, I stayed a little longer. Lights dimmed, chairs stacked, the kind of quiet that lets you think clearly. My phone lit up. "Unknown number. You're handling it better than I expected." I typed back, "Is this the part where you try harder?" Reply came instantly. "This is the part where you start losing things." I read it once and locked my phone. "Try," I said under my breath. The next morning my manager was waiting. "We need to talk." "Okay." He shifted his weight. "There've been complaints. The attention, the articles." I nodded. "And it's affecting business." There it was. Not emotional. Practical. "Take a few days off," he said. "Let it cool down." I met his eyes. "No." He hesitated. "Lena, I show up. I do my job. I don't create problems," I said. "If people have an issue, that's on them. And if it keeps affecting things, then I leave," I said. "Not because I have to. Because I won't stay where I'm not respected." That landed. He exhaled. "Let's see how it goes." I nodded and stepped past him. That evening, Ethan didn't come. For the first time in weeks. I told myself it didn't matter. I focused on work, on orders, on anything that kept my mind steady. When my shift ended and he still hadn't shown up, I checked my phone. Nothing. An hour later, he called. "I had to handle something," he said. I leaned against the wall. "Okay. That's it?" he asked. I was annoyed, I said. "I'm not anymore." A pause. "Why not?" "Because I'm not assuming the worst," I replied. "I'm not reacting the way I used to." "You should have heard from me earlier," he said. "Yes. I'm here now." "I know." The tension eased. Not perfectly. Honestly. The next move came fast. A private event. High profile. Ethan had to attend. My name was on the list. I looked at him. "She set this up." "Yes. You don't have to go," he said. "That's exactly why I will." The venue was everything the diner wasn't. Polished, controlled, filled with people who measured worth by what they could see. I walked in beside Ethan, steady, aware of every glance. "Stay close," he said quietly. "I'm not here to hide." "I know." Conversations shifted as we moved through the room. Faces turned, smiles formed, then changed when they recognized me. She didn't approach right away. She let the room notice first. Then she walked toward us. "Ethan," she said. Her eyes moved to me. "Lena." Not a greeting. A statement. "I was hoping you'd come," she said. "I don't avoid invitations meant for me," I replied. "Good," she said. "Then you won't mind being part of something more public." Ethan stepped in. "No." She didn't look at him. "It's a conversation." It wasn't. The room was already watching. "You know," she said, voice carrying just enough. "People have been curious about you." I held her gaze. "What kind of woman goes from serving coffee to standing here?" she continued. I stepped forward. "The kind that doesn't stay where she's underestimated." A few people exchanged looks. "Confidence is attractive," she said. "Sometimes it's misplaced." Only when it's borrowed, I replied. A shift in the air. You think this is your world now? She asked quietly. No, I said. I know I can stand in any room without shrinking. She turned slightly, including the audience. People forget where someone comes from. They also forget what that teaches, I said. Starting with nothing gives you an edge most people here don't have. The room quieted. Being underestimated is an advantage, I continued. And people who had to build themselves don't lose easily. No one spoke. She studied me, recalculating. You're better than I expected, she said. You're more predictable than I expected, I replied. That landed. This isn't over, she said. I'm not waiting for it to be, I said. She stepped back. The room moved on. But the outcome was clear. Outside, the air felt lighter. You handled that, Ethan said. I learned how she plays, I replied. And now I decide the next move. He watched me for a moment. You're not reacting anymore. No, I said. I'm choosing. That was the difference. I didn't know it yet, but she had one more move. And this time it wasn't about reputation. It was about taking something that mattered. The next move came early. My phone rang before I even got out of bed. Unknown number. I answered. Lena. Victoria. I expected more from you, she said. I expected you to be done, I replied. A soft laugh. That was the introduction. Then get to the point. Check your messages. The call ended. I opened my phone. One photo. Ethan. Victoria. Close enough to suggest something. Recent enough to raise doubt. Another message followed. Even the strongest women have limits. I looked at it, then locked my phone. No rush. No reaction. Just clarity. Ethan called minutes later. I need to explain, he said. Okay. A brief pause. She came to my office. I didn't invite her. That photo. I know, I said. You know. I know what she's doing. He exhaled. You're not reacting. I am, I said. Just not the way she wants. Silence. I trust you, I added. He paused. You shouldn't have to say that. I want to. And if it wasn't true, he asked, then I'd still be okay. That wasn't distance. It was strength. I'll fix this, he said. No. A pause. No. This isn't yours to fix, I said. She's not attacking you. She's attacking you, he said. Yes, I replied. And I'm done letting her choose the battlefield. He understood. I'm here if you need me, he said. I know. That evening I went to her. No message. No warning. Glass walls, controlled space. Everything designed to feel untouchable. She wasn't surprised. I wondered how long it would take, she said. It ends now, I replied. She looked at me, measuring. How? You don't want him, I said. You want to prove you can still take something from someone else. A pause. You built your identity on control, I continued. On being the one people don't walk away from. I stepped closer. But I already did. Her expression held, but her eyes shifted. You didn't lose him, I said. You lost control. The room went quiet. You think this is about control? She asked. I know it is. And you think you've won? I think you've already lost. That landed. You're still here, I continued. Still trying because you can't accept that someone walked away and didn't come back. Her jaw tightened. There it is, I said. You're not fighting me. You're fighting that. She didn't respond. That told me everything. I'm done, I said and turned. Ethan was waiting that night. You went to her. Yes. And it's over. He watched my face. For real. She has nothing left to use. And you. I have nothing left to prove. He stepped closer and pulled me in. You didn't let her break you. She showed me exactly who I am, I said. And who's that? Someone who doesn't lose herself, no matter who she stands in front of. After that, things settled. No new articles. No messages. No sudden appearances. Victoria disappeared the way she arrived, controlled but without impact. Jason didn't try again. The noise stopped. What remained was simple. You're quieter, Ethan said one evening. Clearer, I replied. Because it's over? Because I am. He nodded like that made sense. I'm not reacting anymore, I said. I'm not trying to prove anything. A small breath. I'm just living. He studied me, then said, You changed. I stopped shrinking, I replied. A few days later he said, Come with me. Where? You'll see. We drove without talking. When the car stopped, I looked up. The diner. Same place. Same door. Same start. You're serious? I asked. Completely. We walked in. Nothing had changed, but it felt different. You gave me coffee here, he said. You were difficult, I replied. I was interested. You were observing. I saw someone who didn't know her value yet, he said, but refused to settle anyway. I met his eyes. And now I see someone who knows exactly who she is. This time I believed it without question. He reached into his pocket. I didn't look at the ring first. I looked at him. I don't want you because I need you, he said. I want you because you can leave and still choose to stay. That mattered. I'll keep choosing you the same way. Yes, I said. Simple. Certain. He slid the ring onto my finger. No audience. No performance. Just a choice. Months later, nothing felt forced. Not the events. Not the attention. Not the life around us. I walked into rooms without second-guessing. People looked, some whispered, most understood. Not because of him. Because of me. One night I stood by the window looking at my reflection. Not judging. Not questioning. Just seeing. Ethan stepped beside me. You're thinking. Not really, I said. Just noticing. What? That I don't feel the need to prove anything anymore. He nodded. That's new. It's peaceful. He wrapped his arm around me. You earned it. I chose it, I said. In the end, it wasn't about the man who cheated. It wasn't about the woman who tried to break me. It wasn't even about the man who loved me. It was about the moment I stopped accepting anything less than what I deserved. And once you reach that point, no one gets to make you feel temporary again. If you stayed till the end, you already know your worth. Subscribe for more stories that don't just entertain you. They change you.